Hi everyone, Ashley Stamatinos here. I just got home. It's actually really late night tonight, and I just got home from a family party. I got home from this party called a kumbadi party. I don't know if you've heard of it before. If you're Greek, you probably know what I'm talking about. And so I've been going to it for as many years as I can remember, this kumbadi party, and I found myself sitting face to face with someone who was saying all of these things that brought up incredible judgment within me. It brought up this feeling within me that I almost felt like I was comparing myself to this person, and it made me start feeling really crummy about myself. I started almost feeling emotions that were obviously not mine. Now I realize that, but in the moment I was realizing that I was feeling really awful, and it inspired me to make a little video for you guys, because I know that many of you have reached out to me telling me that when you go to holiday parties, you don't always feel so great when you leave, and maybe you don't even feel that great during the party either. So I wrote down a couple ideas of things that I am going to show you guys so that you can have some tools to help you get through those family parties with flying colors, and maybe even feel better after you leave than even when you got there. Doesn't that sound nice? Well, the first thing is 90% or more of the things that are actually said to you or said to anybody else within a party, they don't actually have anything to do with you. Most of the time when people are speaking to you and speaking about things, even if they're talking about you, I mean, let's be honest, most of the time these parties people are talking about themselves, and it's pretty rare when people ask you about you and really mean it when they ask you about you. Usually they're just being polite and they feel like they're obligated to ask you about you. So whenever you're in a conversation and you start getting yourself involved in feeling defensive or feeling offended by something that someone's saying, I want you to consider, is this something that's about me really? Or is it actually this person projecting their emotions, their thoughts, or their feelings on me? And am I actually so hyper aware of the struggles or the worries or the concerns or the internal conflict going on in this person that I'm taking it on as my own? That's usually what's going on. In my situation tonight when I was at that party, I was immediately feeling like I was doing something wrong, or I wasn't doing enough, that I should have done something different. Anytime you feel the should have or the wrongness or the I could have done something differently, that's a lie. That's actually ego talking. That's the energy that is not energy that's going to catapult you into more consciousness and more creation and more opportunities and more possibilities. Those are things that are conclusions. And conclusions, anytime you create a conclusion in your life, that is always limiting you. So you want to get into question. So I encourage you to ask lots of questions when you are going into family parties, during family parties, and after them as well. So some of the questions might be, what are some of the things that I can say? Or what are some of the things that I can share that people are actually going to be able to receive when I go to this family gathering? Now remember, you might actually be doing some really cool things with your life, and sharing them might actually be more than those people can handle. So it's not a kindness to share things with people when they can't actually receive it. So make sure you ask that question first. What can I share that they can actually receive? And don't just show up and throw up. Don't just give them all sorts of information about your life that they can't actually receive. What would be a kindness for them? That's a really important question. Because when you are being kind to the people around you, and when you are focusing on just pouring an outpouring of gratitude to the people around you, that's going to change things. I remember when I was working in Manhattan years ago, a long time ago now, And I had a coworker who was really unkind to me, just really not nice. And I never did anything to them, but they had a chip on their shoulder about me. You know, there were some things that I was doing that they weren't able to do when they had my position. And so I remember thinking to myself, well, what am I going to do? Because this person has to train me, and I'm going to have to sit next to them. And I'm a really highly sensitive person. So being next to someone who is really unkind and doesn't really like me, and for no apparent reason, what can I do to change this? So I actually first I filled myself up with tons and tons of gratitude. And if you want, you can fill yourself up with the energy of love. But the energy of gratitude is even more expansive in this type of situation. You fill yourself up with gratitude and you flow it to that person like a tsunami. And you just flow it, flow it, flow it to that person. And you just fill them up with it and continue to flow it. And it was the most amazing thing. This person, when we sat down to do the training, she was so nice to me. She was even smiling and being generous with me and saying compliments. I mean, it changes everything. I remember when I was pregnant and I would go to the doctors, and often I found that I asked questions and doctors didn't always like the questions I was asking because they wanted me to just conform to the rules and stick to the structure and not ask questions. And you might understand what I'm talking about if you've ever had any, resistance in that area. And so what I started doing with my doctors is I would start off by saying, how much gratitude can I have for these people, even if I felt like I really didn't like them very much and I couldn't find much to be grateful for. I just would ask myself before I went into the doctor's appointment, how much can I fill myself up with gratitude? How grateful can I be for them? And when I walked in, I smiled and I just gave them, so much gratitude. And then they were so kind to me and completely different than the previous sessions that we had had together. And it was like I was using energy to completely shift and change everything that was going on in those doctor's office visits. So you can do the same. Just fill yourself up. Either feel it or just know that you're filling yourself up, or just visualize yourself filling up with gratitude and flow it to the person like a tsunami, and keep flowing it until you see the change that you require. You can always choose something different. In any situation, if someone's trying to take away your sense of choice, that's when you want to walk the other way. So remember that you always have a sense of choice. You can always choose something different, and really be aware of those people in your life who try to take your choice away from you, because you have a sense of choice and you can always choose. So choice creates awareness. When you choose something different, you're creating new awarenesses and new possibilities. So you can create your life. What are you going to choose? When you go to those social settings and you find yourself getting into judgment of you and asking yourself how you could have been doing something differently, or how you should have been doing something differently, or if you maybe should be doing something that's going to please people more, you want to ask yourself, does that really belong to me? Who does that actually belong to? So you're going to want to ask yourself that question. And if you ask that question and you immediately get a lightness, then you know that it doesn't belong to you, because your body's immediately feeling such a sense of relief because you asked that question. It's like it's thanking you. Yes, that doesn't belong to me, that judgment. But your body's saying, I don't want that judgment. Let it go. So you want to say, return to sender with consciousness attached. Just let go of all of those judgments that you're picking up that don't belong to you. 98% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't originate from you. Imagine you being a highly sensitive person, going to family gatherings, picking up everybody's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You're going to feel pretty judgmental of yourself and other people, and it doesn't even belong to you. So just remind yourself and be aware of the fact that most of the time it's not even yours. So if you're walking around a holiday party, keep asking yourself as you start judging yourself, ooh, my pants feel a little too tight and maybe people can see it, or that person over there is staring at me, or I must have done something wrong. For some reason, I'm just feeling really badly about myself. Immediately ask yourself, does that belong to me? And then when you feel that lightness, just return it to center with consciousness attached, and keep doing that throughout the evening. And you're going to get a really big awareness about all of the things that don't belong to you, and you're going to let them go way before they start festering in you and becoming a bigger problem. Try that out. I swear it's going to change. It actually is also with like a headache. If you get a headache or if you feel pain in your stomach or something, get the awareness that it probably doesn't belong to you. So ask, is this pain mine? Does that belong to me? And if not, if you feel a lightness in your being, if you get an awareness that it's not yours, just return it to sender with consciousness attached. It will change the party drastically, I promise. I also find that with family parties, we are surrounded by people who have no clue how to receive at all. One of the things I just realized recently was that I was dealing with a client, and they were having these wonderful compliments given to them over and over and over again, and they felt really empty. And I was trying to really dig into that with them and figure out what was going on that was so empty about those compliments. And what I realized was a lot of people receive compliments and kindnesses with their heads, and they don't receive it with their bodies and with their full beings. So I want you to try, and don't try actually, I want you to do this. I'd like you to start to receive compliments with your whole body. Let it sink into you. Let it fill your being and expand your essence, and allow yourself to really receive with your body. And see what happens when you do that. With that little adjustment, it's going to change your whole world. When I realized that with the client that I was working with, it was really, really impactful for me, because I started to really receive in a different way myself. I realized that even I sometimes receive with my thoughts. Oh, I got that. I understood what they were trying to say. I said thank you. I smiled. I received it. I didn't, push it away, or, try to, tell them, no, 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 that's not true. I don't deserve that. I actually received it, I thought, with my head. And so when I started to step into the physicality of receiving and receiving with my whole body, I found that the people who were giving to me had more joy in giving to me, because of the way that I was so fully receiving. So step into that and do that differently, and see how that changes your ability to receive. Also ask yourself, how many people in this room am I not willing to receive from because I've judged something about them or myself that is stopping me from receiving from them? Ultimately, the most conscious person is going to be able to receive from anyone and from any situation. And receiving is really getting an awareness and receiving information or receiving energy. So ultimately, if you're really seeking consciousness, you would be able to receive from someone who has done wrongs to you, who has done things to you that you will never forget, and that you don't condone, and that you maybe don't even forgive yet. Ultimately, you would want to be able to actually receive from those people as well, because consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. So we're receiving and getting information from everything around us. Consciousness is bright eyes, open eyes, being able to see and be aware of everything. So ask yourself, who in this party, who in this family am I unwilling to receive from? And those people who you're cutting off your ability to receive, that's also something that's going to lock you up and limit you and have you feel uncomfortable in that family holiday setting. So try that out as well, and ask that question. Who am I not willing to receive from in this family party? The last thing I'm going to leave you with is one of my very favorite things, and I do this all the time, and it's expanding your energy. Some of you have heard me talk about this many, many times, and I'm going to keep talking about this over and over again, because it's something that I love so much, and it has changed so much for me, and it's something that really, really helps me. So when you are going into a family party and you leave, or even during the party, and you start feeling really crummy and contracted and in defense mode, that's because there are so many people around you who are closed-minded and defending themselves and protecting themselves and expecting someone to sabotage them or say something unkind to them. So when you are around them, your energy is going to mimic them just naturally. So by you having a new awareness that that's what you're naturally doing with your body, with your energy, you can be aware of how to change it. So the way to change it is to expand your energy. So I want you to do this with me right now. I want you to imagine your energy is really tight to your body right now because maybe you've been around someone who's in defense mode and they're clenching their energy tight to protect themselves. That's a really hard place to function from. It's usually very uncomfortable for sensitive people. So I want you to expand your energy about a foot in every direction. And then I want you to expand your energy 10 feet in every direction. And then 100 feet in every direction. And just breathe into it. And whether you're seeing it or just knowing it or feeling it, expand that energy a mile in every direction. And then expand it 10 miles in every direction. And then I want you to expand it 100 miles in every direction. And then 100,000 miles in every direction. And maybe you might need to take a moment to just really get yourself that expanded, but get yourself expanded far, far beyond what you've ever expanded before, and keep on going until whatever it is that seemed like a really big deal seems really small. When you've expanded yourself 100,000 miles in every direction, that family party or that person that's nagging you and saying unkind things to you or pointing out errors in your life or telling you what you should be doing, when you're expanded that far, that person is like a speck on your radar because you're so big and so conscious and so expanded. Anything, even a health concern, all of it seems so much smaller. When you're feeling anxiety start to build up, ask, who does that belong to? If it feels lighter, return it to sender. Also, if you feel anxiety build up, you might just want to expand your energy until you no longer feel the anxiety. So try that out. Do that tool, expand your energy, and I know it's going to help you. I want you to use these tools and practice because the family gathering sometimes can be a big drain on us. It can cause anxiety, fatigue, it can burn us out, and it can often leave us feeling like we need to have days to recuperate or time alone so that we can really put ourselves back together after those family gatherings. So use these tools and be aware that usually all of the things said by those other people have everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. People can't judge you if they haven't been that or done that themselves. So keep that in mind and know that you're not alone. We're all out there together, lots of empathic, highly sensitive people going through these holiday parties together, often feeling crummy in the past, but now you have the tools so that you can step into these holiday parties this year feeling great about yourself and knowing that you can handle anything that comes your way. Expand your energy, ask some questions, see what other possibilities you can create because you always have choice. You can always create something different. I believe in you, and I know that you can create a wonderful holiday season this year. And for every year to come, it can only get better and better and better if you're using these tools. I am so excited to hear from you. Let me know how these work out for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Did you like this video? If so, I would be so grateful if you shared this video with all of your friends. You can stay in touch with me by liking me on Facebook and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Would you like to get social with me? You can leave comments on my YouTube videos, Facebook posts, or blog entries and get involved in the conversation. If you would like even more tools and tips that I only get to talk about in email, then I invite you to head over to omorphihealing.com and sign up for email updates. Keep pursuing your dreams and seeking the life you desire. The world is a better place because of that something special only you have. I'll see you next time on Ashley Stamatinos TV.